By the time anyone reads this, I will likely already be dead. This is not a call for help or attention, and this is not a suicide note. This is just goodbye, and maybe a warning to others. If you hear about my suicide tomorrow, please don't dig into it. I will share this message with my Facebook friends, and maybe some of you will understand what happened, but I still ask you not to dig into it. I just want you to understand that I didn't want to die, and that it wasn't your fault. You might have read about the high number of fires we had here in the last 2 or 3 years. And maybe you are also one of the few individuals to whom I confessed that I witnessed one of them. That I saw a man in a second floor window. His body was on flames and he seemed to be screaming, and then disappeared in a wall of flames. If you were one of those people, then you might remember that I felt guilty for just standing there. I didn't know what else to do. I thought I should have helped in one way or the other. My body was frozen in place, and then he was gone. Too fast. I don't feel that guilt anymore. I understand now that what I saw wasn't a dying person. I read a few conspiracy theories online, that there is some arsonist, or that the city is setting the fires because they want to redevelop the area. But just like most others, I didn't think much of the fire. I read a few of the articles out of curiosity or boredom, or maybe just because they were there. After seeing the man on flames, I just couldn't get his image out of my head anymore. I had nightmares, which consisted just of a dark room filled with a burning man and his screams. Originally, I just wanted to know more about the man that died. I read every article about him that I could find, and a few of them mentioned that there was a series of fires. I began to read about the previous fires. I didn't believe any of the conspiracy theories. They just made me feel a confused mixture of amusement and anger. Then, in mid-March, I found a comment that matched exactly what I saw. I would swear that this was online, but it's gone now. The blog where I read it was poking fun at the conspiracy theorists, and among one of the comments a woman complained with the same emotion I felt. She signed the comment with Shelby, but I couldn't find any more information about her online. She was angry about the blogger's jokes because she felt it was insulting to the victims of the fire and could hurt their families. And then she wrote a paragraph I just can't get out of my mind anymore. I was at one of the fires. I know that it will be hard to believe because you think this is all just funny. But when I close my eyes, I still see the image of a man completely on flames, standing in an open window. I saw him standing there for nearly half a minute, and then he was taken by the flames. Shelby wrote a bit more. Something about the guy being disrespectful with his jokes. I should have saved the post somehow, but I didn't. And I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist myself, but since then, there were several more fires. One of those fires killed a woman and her husband. They were called S and M. And then, a few days later, there was another fire. That one was big on the news because a blogger died, which previously had made fun of the conspiracy theorists. His blog is gone now. I don't know what happened, but maybe they took it down or just nobody paid the bills anymore. I know it sounds like a conspiracy theory, but it just seemed too coincidental. That's why I went to the graveyard. That's why I looked at all the new graves. That's why my heart skipped a beat when I saw a double grave with plenty of flowers and the name Shelby etched into the left side of the wooden cross. I talked to a journalist, but he thought I was crazy. And he said that I should tell my wife to stop calling. Apparently, a woman has been calling him for the last 3 months. She kept telling him that she saw a man on fire walk out of one of the houses. He didn't believe me when I said that I don't know her. I think he thought she had told me to call. Still, the journalist gave me her number. Her name was Haley. Was. We talked for about 20 minutes, and she was astonished that I believed her. She nearly got euphoric when I told her that I too saw a man on flames. Haley had seen smoke coming from a window a few minutes before the fire was visible. She called the firefighters and rang the doorbell and hammered it against the door. She heard voices inside, but nobody opened, and so she ran around the burning house to get to the back door. She said that she saw 2 men behind the glass door. One looked human and scared, but the other was just flames. For a moment, Haley thought that she had seen it wrong and that the man was in flames rather than flames. But then she realized that she wasn't able to see through his body. The human was kneeling and begging, but the man made of flames touched his shoulder, and then the kneeling man screamed and begged louder. Haley saw him sinking onto the floor, still screaming and moving, and then his body burst into flames. The man made of flames walked through the room, which touched the furniture until much of the room was on fire. Haley ran back around the corner to hide. Then the man ran out through the glass door. In the garden, his body fell apart in smaller flames that set part of the grass on fire. And it was gone. Haley and I arranged to meet on the weekend. I was excited and at the same time worried to see her. The thought that who I saw in the window wasn't a dying man somehow made me feel better and also somewhat scared. I thought that I could finally sleep soundly. Instead, I had even more vivid nightmares. This time, the man of flames didn't scream anymore. Instead, he walked towards me and I was kneeling on the floor. The same night, there was another fire. The newspaper only had a small article on it, and they didn't say a name. But since then, Haley's number was dead. I waited for 2 days. Maybe I shouldn't have waited. I guess I really didn't want to believe it. When I called the journalist and told him that I thought it was her that had died, I heard a cup slamming on the table. He seemed genuinely shocked and worried. He promised that he would research into it. You've probably seen the articles. The news were plastered with his face. Journalists always write longer articles when they write about their own. Suicide. Set his hotel bed on fire while he was lying in it. Colleagues said they didn't notice any signs that he would ever do such a thing. I talked to 3 different journalists, but none of them wanted to listen. They said I shouldn't talk like that about him, and that I should go somewhere else with my voodoo stuff. So here I am. I'm pretty sure I walked to too many people to talk about it. All of the fires happen at night, and right now, it's getting dark outside. I will stay in the shower, and I have buckets of water all ready. But honestly, I don't think I have a chance. As I said, I just want you to understand that my death was not a suicide. And still, please don't dig into it. Maybe the fires will end if nobody speaks about them anymore. So, I guess this is goodbye. Goodbye, people. It's been a pleasure knowing you all. Take care out there. And forget about me. Just live on with your life. I'll see you around someday.